The Full Circle Podcast. Compelling interviews and incredible tales from Colorado's western slope, from the mountains to the desert. Christi, Reece, and her team hear from the movers, shakers, and characters of the Grand Valley and surrounding mountain towns that make the western slope the place we all love. You'll learn, you'll laugh, you'll love with The Full Circle. Hello, everyone. Christi, Reece here. Welcome back to the Full Circle Podcast. I'm really excited today to have two amazing educators with us from the District 51 school district. And we have Miss Jen Daigle, who is the band teacher at East Middle School, and Mr. Isaac Lavadie, who is the director of bands at Grand Junction High School. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to invite you on our podcast because as Jen knows, I'm a big supporter of public schools, and I think music education is really important. And both my kids went to East and had Jen, and I, along with all the other parents that have had kids at East Middle School, are just in awe of you. And my kids have not gone to Grand Junction High, but Suzanne Hansel, who's on our team, her son is in the band program with you, and they speak so highly of you too. And so I don't know how you all do it, but we're going to dive into that today. So we want to talk about schools and band and kids and how our community can help you do your jobs better and what we need in the schools. So I'd like to start out with you, Isaac. Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got to Grand Junction, and how you got to be director of bands at Grand Junction High School.
Sure. Well, I moved here when I was 3. I'm from Utah. And so this is my home. I still have family in Utah, but this is my home here. And I'm from the area, so I went to school at Central High School. I graduated from Central in 2002. Then I went to Mesa State College, as it was back then, and got my degrees there. I got a bachelor's in music education, K through 12, and also percussion performance. And then I was all set to go get my master's at Eastern Washington University. I mean, I had a plane ticket. I was going to go and meet my future students at the university, and the Grand Junction High School job opened up. And so everyone was like, hey, you should just apply for it, get the experience of an interview. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I got offered the job, and I actually turned it down like 3 times. And I was just like, no, I was like, I'm sorry, I would love to do it someday, but right now I want to go and get my master's. And they kept calling back, and I mean, I had Kathy Joseph was calling, Brett. I mean, all these big names in our town are like, please take this. And so I had to call the university and was like, hey guys, I'm sorry, but I've actually taken a job here. Haven't regretted it.
Never looked back.
Never looked back. And now I just finished year 14.
Wow.
And so yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
And tell me about the instruments you play and your music history.
Sure. So percussion, that's what I mainly play. And so all the mallet instruments, any drums, we play with this in the symphony, and we do that. So those are my main instruments, but being a music educator, you have to learn how to play all of them. So you get,
which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's fun. Some are a little easier than others to catch on to, but so yeah, I have to play them all. And I actually, during the spring semesters, I'll take lessons with teachers in town and just take one-on-one private lessons and get better at that. I'm very hands-on with my learning, and so I figured if I can sit there and figure it out, I'm able to help newer students sit down and figure it out too. Mm-hmm. And that's been really, really beneficial for me. So it's fun being in the symphony because I have friends with local professionals, and I'm like, hey, I've even traded lessons with some other middle school directors. Hey, I'll give you 30 minutes of trombone. If you give me 30 minutes of trombone lessons, I'll give you a 30-minute percussion. And they're like, oh my God, this is great.
Wow, yes.
So we use our resources as much as we can. And
there's a lot of talented musicians in
oh
this
my
town.
Gosh, so many. Yeah.
And do you teach marching band as well?
Yep.
Like part of your repertoire, and that's a whole different animal.
That's a whole different animal, yeah. But it's so much fun, though.
You got to play and walk at the same time.
So I was telling my students, I think this is going to be my 24th season of marching band coming up, being a member and then also teaching or teching with the drum lines. I also do the drum line at Colorado Mesa University, so not only am I super busy with the high school program, but then I have to go and do the college drumline too, but that's so much fun. I love it.
I bet it is, and they have a great program
at
CMU and a practice field
dedicated,
my gosh. Right?
Yeah, it's so great.
Does that help you out? Do you ever use that?
Oh yeah, we use it all the time, especially with our percussion camp, because no one else is around, and so we just have access to the entire. They call it the garage. We call it the garage, and so we get the whole access to that, and it's just a lot of fun. It's kind of our area. We kind of all the drums are stored in there, and we practice, and then you have a great view. The big doors open, you get to see the monument, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
And there's not too many houses right there.
No, not at all.
Surrounded by college kids.
Exactly.
Like, they get it.
And they get it. So it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. All right, Jen, tell us a little bit about your history in Grand Junction.
Well, I did not grow up in Grand Junction. I grew up in Massachusetts. And I went to college out there and taught for a couple of years there. And in Massachusetts, you had to get a master's degree. You had to start working on it within so many years of starting to teach. And in Ohio, Bowling Green State gave me a free ride as long as I would go there and teach their undergrad classes. So I moved to Ohio. I hated Ohio. I did not want to go back to New England where it was incredibly crowded. So I sat down at a map one day and said, where do I want to move?
Wow.
And I got hired for a job in Arizona, and then we had a heat wave, and I called them immediately and said, I don't want to move to Arizona. Mm-hmm. So I got a job over in Colorado Springs for 2 years, and then that just wasn't really my scene over there. It was just too many people. And this job over here opened up, and I had done a lot of research, and I had never been to Grand Junction until after they hired me. Mm-hmm. So,
wow.
But I came.
Leap of faith.
Yeah, no, they hired me, and then I said, okay, I'd really like to come see the school. So I came and I saw the school, and now I just finished year 12 here.
And what instruments do you play? I mean, besides everything. I mean, your specialty is you're in the horn
I'm a French horn player.
French horn.
I really enjoy playing trumpet, but it's like he said, it's a little bit of everything. I have a bassoon sitting in my living room this summer because I'm really, really bad at it. And so the goal for the summer is to be able to play it a little bit better, because right now the deal is the bassoon players are not allowed to ask me any questions about the instruments. It's like, you can play this instrument, and I will help you as much as I can, but don't ask me anything super advanced.
Love it. Love it. I can't imagine what it's like to have all of these little people, especially in middle school, when so many of them are trying their first instrument. I mean, in high school, maybe some of them have played before, and a little bit in middle school, but how do you wrangle all those kids? Because I was amazed from the first concert in 6th grade just to the end of 6th grade. Like, wow, they're playing, all of them together.
Well, the kids don't like me at the beginning. I run the class very almost boot campish style for the beginning, where it's, we start with, this is the top of the case. I mean, that's literally, we start with how to open the case. Mm-hmm. And then we start with open the case and look at the instrument and don't touch it. And if one person touches it, we all go back and start it all over again. So there are years that, we don't touch the instrument for most of the first day. Mm-hmm. And then it's just a matter of just everything's super strict and regimented at the beginning. And then once they're comfortable and I'm comfortable with them holding the instruments without damaging them, I get to relax a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that first 2 months where we're learning how to hold it and make a sound, I mean, we learned 3 notes in 2 months, and it's painful. So
I think it's kind of like when your first child is born and you think they're the most beautiful child, and then you look back on the photos and you think, oh, they were kind of lizard-like. Yeah. But I remember when my kids had their first concerts, I was like, they're so good. Oh my gosh, they sound so great. And then I would go to somebody else's concert. My kids were great. Yeah. I think you have to have a real sense of humor to lead a bunch of kids like that, don't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially the middle school.
Sarcasm. They love sarcasm.
They do.
They really, they're starting to figure that out a little bit, and that's exciting. When they get to me, they've figured that out, and I can do inside jokes with them and crack jokes, and it's a lot of fun. But it's been neat, going over there. Sometimes you'll go and tell a joke, and they don't get it. It just kind of goes over their head. And you're like, all right, well, I'll save that for the high schoolers. But it's a lot of fun to work with them. You never have the same day twice. So you never really know what you're going to come into. And that's what makes it fresh and exciting every day. Because, we're teaching the same kind of stuff, but you never know what the personalities they're bringing that day or whatever. And it changes all the time. So,
Wow.
It is. And it's so amazing watching them grow, too. I know you don't get to see it as much But when they come in, not just as a musician, but they start off at 4'6" and they end up towering above you.
Yeah. Big changes in 6th to 8th grade.
Right. There's huge changes. And then it's really what I love is going from that first concert where their highlight is Hot Cross Buns to the last concert in 8th grade. It's just, to me, it's amazing what they can do. And it's just, I hope that they feel like they've gotten something accomplished and they've learned, not just music, but other important lessons too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do you have a lot of the local students that go on to play after high school?
Yeah, we have quite a few that will continue on at the college level. I've had a couple that have made it to, they've gone on and they're professionals now. And that's not my major goal, is to try to get as many of them to do that. But the ones that are driven, it's really cool to see that. And just hey, remember when your first major concert, send me a ticket because I want to come and watch that.
Oh,
So
it must make you feel really proud when you see someone
really,
continue like that.
Oh yeah, we love it. Yeah.
One thing I didn't realize when I moved to Grand Junction is Grand Junction's really good at supplying their own set of teachers. Isaac grew up here, and there's a lot of teachers that teach here who grew up in the area, which when I moved here, I didn't know anything about the town. And so I thought it was just this little town in the middle of nowhere, and there wasn't going to be much music or arts. And then I got here, and there were just so many opportunities. And it was really interesting for me to see how many people actually grew up here and went through the programs that we're now doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What kind of continuing education is there for music teachers? What do you get to go do? And you talked about the fact that you're in the symphony and you rely on some of the other players there, but do you get to go to festivals or some kind of continuing education?
Yeah, so in the summer, usually the third week of July, we're part of a group called Colorado Bandmasters Association, and they do a 3-day convention for just band directors. So we go to that every year. And that's really nice because you can get continuing credit through CSU if you want, or you can just go and just take a couple classes and just learn from other teachers in Colorado. So they do that for us in July. And then in January, we have a Colorado Music Educators Association convention that we do at the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs.
Nice.
And that's where you can really take a bunch of different classes and get some credits there if you'd like. So nothing formal, but I mean, we definitely take advantage of that so we can recharge our batteries and kind of learn.
Yeah.
See, there's some of the new techniques that are going out there, or we get to hear new pieces that are being introduced, or for me, it's more of just the networking with other directors. And,
I bet it's really fun to commiserate with others.
Yeah, just hey, I'm having troubles with this. What strategies are working for you? And then they're like, oh, have you done this, or have you checked this website out, or have you seen this? And that's been very beneficial for us.
Wonderful.
One of the other things they have is there's groups on Facebook. The one that I like to follow it's called Middle School Band Directors, and there are about 17,000 people on this page.
Wow.
And so it's great because I can put a question up there, I'm having trouble teaching this, and within 10 minutes I'll have 20 different answers. And it's also good because I read through it and I'm like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that can't do this. And there's a lot of camaraderie, even though you don't know the people, but just kind of knowing what they're going through. And,
you're in the same boat.
Right. Sometimes I am very fortunate as to the boat we are in compared to the boat they are in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's talk about some of the challenges. Let's start with COVID. I mean, what a crazy year. And Jen and I were just talking about it was hard on the kids, but it was hard on the teachers too.
Mm-hmm.
And watching you guys try to adapt with masks and playing wind instruments and things, it just must have been nuts. How did you get through that?
Yeah.
What did you do to help your students and yourself get through that?
Yeah, the hard part was, I think, starting out because, we ended our fourth quarter, last year, and we didn't know what to expect. And so in the marching band world, we're already starting for the season. And so I had planned 3 different shows on what we were going to do. Are we going to be competitive? Are we not? And if we're going to be competitive, how competitive is it going to be? Are we going to be able to travel? And then if it's not competitive, what do we have to? So I had to make sure you have all these things. So I'm used to planning just one show. And this last season I had to plan 3, and they were all completely different. They all came with different costs to the students, and it was just what are we going to do? But luckily, I think having a plan was really is beneficial for the students and the parents, because it's like, hey, I'm not just winging it here. Like, we've thought about it. Like, we're as band directors, we're constantly planning ahead. We have to think ahead. We have to figure out what's going to come next. And so that was really nice to have those options. But it was before then, it was just like, I don't know what's going to happen. and then what's it going to look like when we get back in the building? Like, so we had all the different spacing requirements that we had to do. We had the masks, like you mentioned, the bell covers, I mean, all the different stuff. And at first it was kind of like, okay, this is going to be like, oh my gosh, like, is this going to be worth it? And then we heard about some of our friends from the other, like, Denver schools, and they're like, they're not even in person, they're just going to be virtual the whole time. And we were virtual for what, like 4 weeks?
You were
maybe?
virtual for 4 weeks. We were virtual for 1 because the middle schools went back.
Right, that's right. And I was like, 4 weeks, I'm like, this is, our activity's not designed for this. And so I was like, I'll take whatever things you're telling us to do, I'll take it. If that means we get to be in person, we get to play, we can, whatever hoops we have to jump through, fine. So
kudos to the administration.
Oh my gosh,
District
Dr.
51.
Circo and everybody that made it happen for us. Like, that was just great
We
were able to play.
And they were really willing to help get the products that we needed, like he was talking about the band masks. It wasn't a cost to the kids. That came through COVID relief money through the national government.
Yeah, I think so.
And so, and just a shout out to Kathy Joseph, who's the music coordinator, and she ordered it all, and she was just on top of it from the beginning.
Yep.
It took a lot of stress off of us, because I know for the first couple of weeks we didn't have that stuff, and it was like, well, what are we going to do? So we went outside and banged buckets with drumsticks. I don't know what everyone else did, but we all became drummers really fast.
Yep. Improvise.
But it was nice to have somebody. So it's like, I knew that we were banging the buckets, but I knew that there was an end to it in sight.
Yeah.
So besides COVID, we know that arts in general have had a challenging time in schools. Funding has been cut way back for all kinds of art programs, including music. What do you see as the biggest challenges facing your program in your school and district-wide? Jen?
This is not a funding issue for arts. My biggest challenge is the size of my classroom. We squish in a non-COVID year 55 kids into a classroom, and I suppose it's probably within fire code, but that doesn't include all the drums and all the extra stuff we have out. And so it's very difficult to teach because I can't walk around the kids, and the kids are playing in funny angles just so they can sit next to each other without, touching each other. So for me, that's one of my biggest things, and I go back to that really doesn't have to do with funding.
Yeah.
We're really fortunate here. It's a pretty long-standing program here. I feel like we have a lot of support from the community. I have a lot of instruments. For me, it's getting those kids involved who have never done it before and educating the parents, because we have so many kids who live in apartments and they can't practice. And we have so many parents who say, well, you can't do this because you can't practice, and there's always a workaround to it.
Always. Yeah.
So, and I know your classroom is.
Yeah, and our room's pretty small too. So it's kind of nice to, though. I mean, they come from a small middle school room, they come to a small high school room, so they're used to it, but it's like it could be a lot better if they had just better facilities, sort of thing, I guess, which hopefully, for us, hopefully we can get that going.
Yeah.
That's some other time, I'm sure.
We are going to replace Grand
gosh.
Junction High School.
We would love
this
that.
This is our year.
We would love that.
It really needs to happen.
So, but yeah, and similar sort of thing. We're just like, can we provide instruments for, I think there's kind of a misconception. Sometimes people are like, oh, I can't afford to buy an instrument. And so they just don't even come try. And it's like, no, we can help you. We can make that happen, but you have to let us know. And so kind of getting the word out there, they're just like, we are willing to work with you any way we can to get people in our classrooms and get them involved in the arts, because it is so important.
So important.
And we'll do whatever we can to work around any roadblocks that you guys have so you can become involved.
Like, the last thing I want is instruments sitting in the back closet and students out front who maybe couldn't afford to do it going, oh, I want to play that instrument. So, you really got to be willing to work with those students and those families to make stuff happen for them.
Yeah.
Why do you think that music education is so important for kids? What do you see it do for them?
For me, it just it makes them more human. I mean, the district's pushing, really big social emotional learning, and you'd be surprised like how many times, like especially in my class, where like this last semester we had 96-minute periods, and you'd be surprised like sometimes half of that class period we were just talking about what's going on in your worlds right now. How are your people? How has COVID affected you? How's life going? And sometimes they just need that release. Like I know sometimes they'd be stressed out with homework or stressed out with. I'm having more and more students that have to have a job outside of school, more so than I've ever had, and just to help with support the family. And sometimes they just need a chance to vent in a safe room,
an outlet,
and in order, and it's like I'm more than happy to give that to them. And that I think that means more to them maybe than they even realize that they can have a safe place to come and talk and just vent, especially to like another adult, because sometimes maybe they don't want to talk to their parents about just stresses of just having a job, because they don't want to put guilt on the parent or whatever. And I can just tell them, hey, here's some of my experiences, or here's how you're helping, or I think that's just important for them to have. It's just a safe place to just have that outlet. And music offers that, because like we're not getting judged or standard tests or anything like that. We can, if I don't have to teach my content for half the period, I'm okay with that, because we'll still get our product out there, and it will still be fine. We don't have the demands of standardized testing or anything like that.
Right. Jen, what do you think? What's important about it?
I guess watching the little guys. So at East, the kids are required to do band, orchestra, or choir. So they're forced into a performing class, and a lot of them don't want to be, and then a lot of them end up loving it, which is really great to see. But I like watching them just grow in their confidence. They get this instrument, and all of a sudden they're expected to play it in front of people, and we'll be in class and we'll just go right down the road, play this, play this, play this. And even though it's in music, I start to watch them volunteer more in other classes and just become outgoing. The other thing is, for me, I think more of high school band when I think this, but it definitely applies to middle school band. There's, you learn how to be part of a team. You have to do your part, and if you don't pull through, you're affecting other people.
Yeah.
And then it's just personal responsibility. If you show up to a concert without the instrument, which happens in middle school, maybe not in high school, but it happens in middle school.
I mean, you have to have your instrument. You have to be wearing the right clothes. You have to have practiced and know your part.
Right. And so I just feel like there's a lot of life lessons. There's a lot of great musical things, but I feel for me, my discipline came from high school marching band. I would not be who I was without having done high school marching band.
Yep. Yeah, we're setting them up, like teaching them leadership skills too, and not even just the kids on the leadership team. We're just like, hey, you're, a lot of times you're representing sometimes like the largest group, the largest student organization in the school, and so you got to. I always we always say, remember who you represent, because if you're wearing any Junction band gear or anything like that, and you're out cussing in the hallways or doing bad thing, cheating or whatever in class, it's like you're reflecting poorly on our program, and we can't do that. So just having just that leadership of like, hey, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to try to be an example for everyone else that doesn't have a group like that. I think that's been huge too. It's like, hey, we want to be like those guys. What makes them different? And they're part of a group.
I love it, and it's part of the school spirit. So much of a part of the school spirit.
Yeah,
and getting people excited about where they go to school.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And you said you have generally around 55 kids in your class, Jen?
Well, it depends on the grade level. In 7th grade band, I have about 55. In 6th grade band, when they're required to do it, I generally have about 70 total.
Wow.
But they're split into 2 different classes. We get to rehearse for each concert together once. So when the parents hear the 6th grade band, what they don't realize is the kids don't know the other parts. They play the show and they play all the music, but they've never heard the other parts until that day. And
That's
then
phenomenal.
Between 7th and 8th grade, we'll lose a couple and probably end up in the mid 40s. So.
And how about you? How many students do you have at any one time in your different classes?
It just depends on which type of band it is. So once they get to that high school level, they can kind of start to pick a little bit more on what they want to focus on.
Tell us about the different programs.
For example,
in high school.
if we have jazz band, jazz bands, you have anywhere from 20 to 25. You don't want to get too much bigger than that, because then it kind of ruins the sound of what the band's supposed to be like. Whereas in middle school, it's like, hey, you all come play. You have 30 to 40 people. I mean, I've had my freshman jazz band. I've had remember one year I had 40 kids in there, but it's like I also knew I'm going to use those 40 and kind of fit them into the upper two bands at some point. So the jazz bands have anywhere from 20 to 25. Concert bands are open to anyone. You can all come play. I have a top group that's auditioned, and so I try to cap that around 40 students. It just depends on instrumentation and how many people I have. And then the symphonic band's open to everyone. So I think this last year I had 55 in there. And then the marching band, just if you want to put in the time, come do it. So last season we had 85, and then during the last COVID season we only had 65. So we took a little bit of a hit there. But we'll get those numbers back up now that we're kind of back to normal now.
And I know it was super disappointing that you all were supposed to go over to Colorado Springs and play, and the weather turned, and what happened?
Yeah, I feel really bad for the class of 2021, because their junior year, they were doing really, really well, really, talented class. And then our state got canceled, marching band state got canceled the week of state. It was the day before or 2 days before. And it was just the weather. I mean, we can't control that. And,
it's Colorado for you.
And it's Colorado, exactly. And so we had to cancel state marching band, which is a huge, huge thing for them. And the last year's seniors too, I felt bad for them, because their senior year, they missed out on their senior trip. And then the juniors they had it 2 years in a row. And this year, my seniors this year were extremely talented. I had a really special group, and I felt terrible because I couldn't share them. I couldn't share their talents with anyone because just those opportunities didn't exist. So it's really unfortunate for them. But again, nothing we can do about it. But it's just man, they were a really good class.
Well, I know from having my kids in Jen's class, and my son is singing with Mr. Doty out at Palisade, and I see the love that the kids have for you as band and music teachers, and it's really inspiring.
Yeah.
I mean, I do see that you make those personal relationships with the kids. It's a little bit different than a math teacher.
Yeah.
It's nice that we get them. I get them for 3 years, and you get them for 4 years.
Yeah.
So by the time I always play the last song of the year in 8th grade. I always play "You Got a Friend in Me."
Yeah.
And then
I'm having goosebumps right now.
we just did this. And so. But it's this last time that I get to be with them, and they get to be with each other before they go to different schools. And so it's just this emotional connection that we have. And this year they hit a new record, and that they started crying before we even started playing. Usually they start crying at the end of the piece, but this year I look over and they're already crying. So
Love it.
Yeah. And that's so nice for us too. Because I remember them when they come in as really scared freshmen, I don't know if I can do this. And then by the end, they're going off and doing, college, or they're going professional or doing whatever. And just I remember there was a time where you were scared and you were almost going to quit this. And aren't you glad you didn't? And just to have that 4 years with them, 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's nice too, because we always try to do combined concerts, or we try to have you come out, I'll come out and work with your groups. And so it's kind of nice, because then we get, they get to see these guys, as juniors and seniors in high school. That's really exciting for them.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see, because we get to watch them grow these 4 years. And it's kind of neat to see what kind of people they're going to turning into.
So neat. Jen, one of the traditions at East Middle School, of course, is Rockathon.
Oh, yeah.
Were you able to have Rockathon this spring?
not in the traditional sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't do the Rockathon. So basically we did a Rockathon where we just asked for donations. And then at the end, these kids had missed so much, so many opportunities. We were just saying, you know, his ninth graders will have never gone to festival before, which is, you know, they've missed it 2 years in a row now. And so we decided to do something special, and any kid who had participated in the Rockathon, we brought over to Bananas this year and just did a fun day with them.
Nice.
Which was great. And we still did raise not as much money as we normally did, but we did raise some money. So hopefully next year we get back on track with that. The kids were upset. They were horrified that they weren't going to be able to rock.
Yeah.
That is a very fun event. And my husband went to East Middle School a long time ago, and he remembers Rockathon and how fun it was when he was there. And so when my kids got there, he was so excited to just bring as much stuff, you know, chairs and blankets and TV and all that stuff, really set them up.
Yeah, the kids, they love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite days of the year. So it was really I was sad not to do it, but it was really fun to take them out to bananas and see them outside of the school setting, you know.
Yeah.
Again, it's like one of those things that we can kind of do that maybe some of the core teachers can't do.
And where does the money go from fundraisers like Rockathon?
Everywhere. Besides instrument repairs, I don't get a budget from the school. So every piece I want to buy, if it's a new piece of music, if we need some new music stands next year, we need some new chairs next year, I just bought probably $3,000 worth of instruments this year, which sounds like a lot, but it's 2 instruments. But for me, most of what I see it going towards is helping the kids that can't afford it. Mm-hmm. You know, there's just so many kids that want to be involved and can't afford the rental fee, or they can't even for clarinets afford reeds for the instruments. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it goes to that, but I mean, it just goes everywhere. Mm-hmm. I know you do a ton of other stuff with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll give scholarships for private lessons. I know you guys do that too. Sometimes, like for our marching band fees, if students need help with that, we give them scholarships for that. And always keeping the little things, you know, in stock, like reeds and, you know, valve grease or quart grease or all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And say, hey, can I borrow this? I'm like, yeah, you can have that. That's fine. Those certain things, that's what we use the money for too. And also music and chairs and stands
and don't forget those instruments.
And the instruments too. Yeah, always instruments, always.
I think that anybody that's watching this that doesn't know you all, or even if they do, they're going to realize what caring, hardworking educators you are. I mean, it's really amazing how much time you put in and how much love you put in for these kids. You really want to see them grow and help them succeed.
Yep.
It's really heartwarming.
Yep.
So how can parents and other community members help? Can they make donations? Can they volunteer? What do you all need from the parents of not only the students, but from our community?
Well, I always tell the parents that I'll take their money anytime they want to give it to me. It doesn't have to be for the Rockathon, but just having that word of mouth, getting businesses to donate prizes for the Rockathon or donating money, that really helps. But then there's a lot of things that don't involve money that they can help out with. Like coming in during the day, I had a father who used to come in and he would organize my music and he would photocopy and he would take care of some of that other stuff that I just had a hard time getting to. Or I've had other parents who knew a little bit about music and they would come in the beginning of 6th grade and help me get, because putting together a clarinet takes 45 minutes to get it together the first day with 45 children or whatever. Mm-hmm. But just having people in the classroom, being supportive. I mean, there are a lot of kids whose parents are working. They don't even get to go to concerts. Just supporting their children, showing up to the concert, taking an interest, and being motivating.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with all that. And also like encouraging them just to keep it going. I mean, music's difficult. I mean, it takes a lot of work and it takes, you got to be consistent with it. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are, they want to try sometimes too many things. And it's like become jack of all trades and masters of none. And, it's kind of like, well, let's, keep insisting that they pursue it and keep going and don't quit when it gets hard. And it'll pay off. I promise you it'll pay off. And, so that's how they can help, on my end. And always, donations and those sorts of things are great too. But any sort of time they can give and just supporting their student musicians and saying it's worth it. Maybe, take them to a symphony concert, or if you can't afford a symphony concert, come to a rehearsal and just see, the professionals in town and what we get to do. A lot of them are going to see their music teachers up there because a good chunk of them are performing in those groups. So,
and expose your kids to all kinds of music.
Yeah, exactly. All those things are great. And then also, maybe your kid did give up music or didn't continue on with it, and there's an instrument laying around your house somewhere. We'll take it. Bring it to us. We'll make sure we have a student that can play it. Instead of selling it on Facebook or something.
Donate it. Please donate your instruments to the schools.
Give it back to the schools.
We'll find a place.
We would love it. So. Those are certain things that they can do to help us, but just we're in a fortunate area. Our community is very supportive of the arts, and we just want to keep it that way. And we also want to let those people know it's like we do recognize that. It's not, we see that you guys are supportive of us, and we just want to give back and we want to help. But please, just keep whatever it takes to keep music in the students' lives. Like, don't give up on it just because it gets hard or they have a bad day or something. Like,
because that's really easy to do. I really don't like playing this instrument, Mom.
I told my mother I was not going to play the flute past the end of 4th grade. She made me play all of 4th grade, and I hated her for it.
Yeah.
You love her now.
Yep.
Sometimes. No, always.
How much do you see kids using YouTube to help them with their learning process?
All the time, yeah. Especially like we went online for a little bit. We had to be creative with some of our assignments, and so like I remember one of mine was, I during our planning, I got a list of every instrument and like professionals on that instrument, and then a bunch of YouTube links. And I was like, okay, like your assignment today is to go and click on 2 videos and watch these videos and then write what you took away from it. And now we have these resources now for forever, because we just throw it in Google Classroom, and now they have that. And so that was kind of nice. And so you're just kind of showing them like, here's where you can go to find some information. But they're already doing that kind of stuff anyway.
I think when you see musicians like Shawn Mendes, who says he taught himself to play guitar on
and
YouTube,
actually, I teach
really
a guitar
inspiring.
class. So I teach this guitar class, and some of the days I literally just have them take their Chromebooks out, and I say, okay, I want you to pick a song you want to play, and I want you to teach it to yourself. Because they'll learn better from a YouTube video than they will from me standing in front of them lecturing them, particularly on guitar. So it's really interesting. Or it's the 6th graders in general, they come in like January, and they'll go, I went online and I learned to play this song. And so it's a lot of them taking the steps above and beyond is really where that's to. But I don't know if you've seen these. There's all sorts of beginning band boot camps now that you can send kids to, and it literally starts with how to put the instrument together. So if you had a kid that just couldn't wait till the end of summer, they could get started now and have some good quality instruction.
Yep. I know a lot of the military bands are doing that too. When all this started going down, I mean, their performances got stopped. So what they are getting paid to do, they weren't able to. They couldn't travel. They couldn't perform, and so they just started making these videos just like that. It was just like, from the simple thing to like putting it together to preparing for an audition for college or for a military band or whatever. They took you through that whole process. Some of these, and it's great because now we have those resources that. It's just because COVID's over, it doesn't mean that stuff's going to disappear. It's like now it's out there. And so, one of the things I was trying to teach the students is like, what positives can we pull from this? Because if it's such a big thing, it can easily get you down and you can spiral down pretty quick. So I was like, we got to try to find some of the positives from it. And so having these resources now, that's been huge for them too.
Fantastic. So, what kind of music do you like to listen to?
Oh, geez, for me,
in your free time.
I'm on Spotify. I have so much. I have so many different playlists. And for me, my go-to answer for that is anything that has a good beat, because I'm a drummer, so I like to. I like to practice with it. Like I have different playlists for like snare drums or drum set or whatever. I have different playlists on Spotify and warm ups and just all that kind of stuff. So for me, if it has a good beat, I'm pretty good with it.
If you haven't, you need to go to Carnival in Brazil.
Oh my God, I would love that.
Oh, you talk about drums.
And do the samba bands there.
Yeah, just in the streets.
I would love that.
Amazing.
That would be amazing. And then obviously, classical music, depending on what we have for symphony coming up or whatever. So I have a huge range of music that I listen to, because again, sometimes the students, they'll, hey, have you heard this band or have you heard this artist? And I'm like, no, I haven't. But it's like, if they're digging into it, then it's like, it's great for me because I don't have time to listen to all of it. But and then I have another way I can connect with them. Like, hey, did you hear so-and-so released a new album or whatever? I mean, and some weird stuff. So, I mean, it's not just like jazz band or classical music, but they're, like some rap or whatever, like emo stuff, or, I mean, if I'm like, oh, hey, I know that album, and they're just like, what? Like, how do you know that album?
You're much
and I'm
cooler.
Like, you're surprised, It's like I can get in, I can hang with you guys. I don't understand what they're saying, but it's like I can at least I can understand who you're listening to.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what my go-to is. Right now, I'm listening to like movie soundtracks. Like I just love movie soundtracks.
I do too.
So I've been listening to a bunch of those because it's just fun to listen to. And, it's just great music. So that's currently where I'm at. So.
How about you, Jen?
I'm going to be shunned by the music community for this. When I get home, I've spent so much time listening to, no offense to the children, I love them dearly, and some of them make music, but a lot of them make noise. I like to spend some time in quiet. So I do listen to, like he was saying, I try to listen to a little bit of everything. And if a kid says to me, hey, have you heard this band? The very first thing I'm going to do is say, go pull that up on my computer on YouTube and I'll watch it once you're gone. Or there are some types of music I won't go into what they are that I don't particularly like, that everyone thinks I like. I respect them and I will listen to it. And I have 100% respect and admiration for what they can do, but it's not really my thing.
Right.
But it doesn't mean I don't listen to it, because I feel like every single time you listen to something that's out of your comfort zone, you're growing as a musician. And so I try to listen to a bunch of different things.
Yep.
Wonderful.
But my go-to, which also will get me shunned,
Come on.
would be classic rock.
Classic rock.
That's great.
Can't argue with that.
That's my
Argue with
go-to.
that. It's really good.
Yeah, I love it when my son's playlist comes on and something that I know every word to
Yep.
Yeah.
plays on his
surprise him.
playlist, and then I get to sing it with him, and then they say,
And
"Shut
I
up,
used
Mom."
to teach a history of rock and roll course.
Oh, fun.
And I kind of gave that up now for guitar, but I'm going to combine them a little bit next year so they'll get some. And it's fascinating to watch the kids kind of have the same attitude we do, because when they start off, they're like, I am not going to listen to the Beatles and I am not going to listen to that. And by the time they're done, they've got all that stuff on their iPods. And so that's always really, and then it's really great because they'll say, hey, what bands are you doing? Why don't you research a band and present it to the class? And then now I'm the cool teacher in the know that's like, yeah, I know this song.
Got to keep doing that.
Yep.
Kids need to know the history of rock.
That's right.
Really important. We have just a few minutes left. I want to know what you're looking forward to in this next school year. Hopefully things are pretty much back to normal in the classroom. So what are you excited about
No
this year?
masks. Not having to wear masks.
Not having to wear masks.
Although
yes,
I'm sure
number
we
one.
probably will.
Yeah.
At some point.
That would be nice. For me, it'd be, getting the performance opportunities to come back. Like we didn't get to, usually you mentioned rockathons earlier on, we try to go and perform at all the rockathons. We use it as recruiting and to kind of show the middle schools like, hey, you can look forward to this in high school. And we didn't get to do any of that this year. So for me, just getting to get the students to go out and perform again, that's going to be really nice. We had we've been trying to get our jazz band to go play at some of the nursing homes around town. And every time we got it planned, we're ready to go, and then something happens and it gets canceled. And it's just like, I wish we want to try to give back to the community in that way. And so the more that we can get out there to perform, that's what we're looking forward to the most. So that'll be really nice to get and share the talents with everyone else.
Right.
That'll be fun. Festivals and those sorts of things. Concerts.
We had the Palisade concert in the park at the end of the year that they do out there. That was so nice. And they had all the bands together and the choir and outside. Beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Really appreciated that.
The first time, he doesn't know this, but the first live concert I went to was actually his concert.
Really?
With his concert bands.
The preview
I
concert.
don't know, sometime must have been their preview concert. But it was just such an emotional experience. I never thought listening to a bunch of high schoolers make music would make me cry. But it was just this moment of, oh my gosh, life is moving on. These kids are starting to get to act like kids. We can enjoy some quality music. Yeah. And then when I did my concerts, several weeks later, the parents had a lot of the similar experience I did. And I think it's just, we miss live music so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to obviously be in the schools. It could be, over
anywhere.
at Red Rocks.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't care who's coming to the amphitheater this summer. I'm going.
Just go.
So then you should know we're going to plug this.
Yes.
I'll plug this.
Plug away.
So on
Alrighty.
June 12th,
June 12th.
the symphony is doing a concert. I don't remember what it's geared towards children, like musical stories.
It's like a children concert.
And it's free as long as you call ahead and you get a ticket, because there's only a certain number of people that can go, but it's right there at the amphitheater. And I know we're both playing in it along with a bunch of the other music teachers.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So come
June
check it out.
12th.
Yep.
Okay. And you can go
6:30.
online to the symphony's website and get tickets.
gjsymphony.org, I think.
I think so.
But
Okay, wonderful.
come say hi. We'll be there.
Wonderful. Well, I thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm really excited to highlight the work that you do. And I know that you appreciate all the other music teachers in the district. I know everybody works really hard to make sure our kids are getting good music education. I didn't plan this today, but I've been really inspired by you all, and I want to let you know that we're going to donate $500 to each of your programs.
Wow.
And just
Thank you.
say
so
a big
much.
thank you for all the hard work that you do.
We really
Thank you.
appreciate
We
that.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I'll tell
Absolutely.
you right now that I have to buy a flute, and that will just about cover it.
Yep.
It will cover it.
Fantastic.
So I can tell you right now, we'll put the flute with a case with your name on it.
Oh my gosh. that'd
We'll be
great.
honored.
Because that's what we need.
We would be honored. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you to Jen Daigle and Isaac Lavadie, and we will see you next time on the Full Circle podcast. Thanks for joining us. Bye. Thanks for listening. This is Christi Reece signing out from the Full Circle podcast.